you will get the jury instructions which you've heard. But one of the points, and I'll read it because I think it's paramount in this analysis. It says, you may use your reason and common sense to reach your conclusions. And we'll go through these records. And what you have to keep in mind as it relates to the issue of chest pain is that Dr. Cantrell was diagnosed 5 cervical esophageal perforations following endoscopic procedures, heard a patient complain about chest pain, and did 2 things. He disregarded that complaint, and then in real time, before any of this happened, before we knew there was litigation, before we knew the patient was transferred, made up his records to be inaccurate. That's the issue. The issue becomes, if Dr. Cantrell was told about chest pain, did he, 1, disregard it, and 2, purposely misdocument his notes? The common sense reason says, why would he ever do that? There's no risk of litigation. At this point, there's no concern of a missed esophageal perforation. Why would he not document the chest pain? He even acknowledged, look, if there's chest pain, I'm going to do a chest x-ray. I think Dr. Rosen disagrees on some of this stuff, but Dr. Cantrell says, look, ultimately there's a chest pain, I'm going to get a chest x-ray. Is it required? No, but I'm going to get one because if the patient complains about it, I'm going to do it. And so let's look at Dr. Cantrell's note on this particular issue. This is expressly documented. The patient denies any vomiting and denies any chest pain. So the common sense thought process is, again, you're not in a position where you're thinking about there's already been a diagnosis for esophageal perforation, it's been missed, let me cover my tracks, let me say the patient denies chest pain. This, again, is the difference between a prospective analysis and a retrospective analysis. The plaintiff's counsel has told you, look, we know how the story ends. We know that it's a cervical esophageal perforation. That's the motivation behind the documentation. That's why the documentation is inaccurate. That's why they're telling you there's no chest pain, because they have to cover themselves should there be a lawsuit. When this is being documented, there's no lawsuit on the horizon. There's no concern, at least at this point, that there's a missed cervical esophageal perforation. This is real-time documentation capturing the information.